Alright, so just a kind of a practical example of the GUI in work, just being used in stuff. Place a character in the scene, and let's go ahead and place a background color sky here. So say for instance you do have some GUI elements you want to actually display. We'll say for instance we want to have the health for the player. If we were to go over here, let's see, we'll put a camera on the player, and then we'll go over to our GUI camera. So usually just kind of a general practice, GUI camera is just going to be off to the side of the scene. Now remember that anything that's on the GUI in terms of this actually says show only on GUI isn't going to show up during the game, so you don't have to worry about that side of it. But in terms of just kind of a clean working space, it's usually good just to move it off to the side like that. Alright, so let's say for instance we'll do a we'll start off with something like this. We want to place a button over here, and on the button let's do two things. One, we want to make sure that the button, if you wanted, you could actually say the button can't be touched. For instance, you could actually make it more like a panel on it. We'll show it only in the camera GUI mode. You could click off of this one, and then we'll say enable input's going to be in the GUI as well. Then on our other part, how about we just go down here, we'll actually change up the button state. Let's go ahead and just make it a panel right there. And for the text, kind of like we did before, we'll just say health. And we'll go ahead and leave it on black on that one. So if we do those, then we can go back to the beginning right here. We'll grab our watcher brush, and we'll watch the player's health property. Alright. So with that set up, one last thing we'll do like we did before, we'll turn the image tile off, that way we don't have to see it while we're playing it. But if this was in-game, I would say something similar to this is, you may have, instead of health, it may wind up being like the picture of the character right here. The tiles for the tile guy at the very end over here, very end of the list, you've got a picture for the character for lives, for health, and for coin pickups. So there's a set of those. Again, if you put them on the camera, there's a good chance they'll start to double in size as you each time you play it. So it's not something that's going to be, at least probably this week. Maybe next week we'll have things working better for it on that side. But if we have this setup right here, if we were just intending to play with just the defaults, we'll put this one in. Then when you start up on it, we'll be able to see health up here in this top corner. And then it's going to stay on the screen like regular UI elements do. So now we have it going, and then the player moving around with the camera following the player. So very simple, but also effective in terms of trying to display at least the basic information to a player throughout their play time or their play session. Alright, so there we go.